Disclaimer: some of our content varies per video and may not be suitable for younger audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, in some content, we are critical of the video games, books, music, videos, and other creators on the platform. While we are a group-owned channel, our opinions expressed are solely on our own and may not always reflect the opinions of those associated with this channel. We at Novakast do not condone any and all harassment, i.g. cyberbullying, doxing, swatting, towards any of the people that we may be critical towards. How's it going, everybody? Rob here, back with another video, and well, we're looking at another video. We're looking at some more content, and good lord, we're going to be looking at the channel Satanan Perkly, and the video in question is animal lovers are empathy deficient. If I said that correctly, I think I did. I know words, but either way, to paraphrase some of the things they said, I mean, it's interesting because looking at the content itself, this individual mostly reads from a PubMed article about narcissism, and for the lack of a better word, people showing more empathy towards dogs and less for humans. Now, a couple things that she brings up right off the bat is possibly the growing statistics for narcissism, especially in like the Western society. And if I recall, she used, or at least tried to claim, that it was a really big number. However, in Western society, the estimate for the prevalence of narcissistic personality disorder is ranged from about 0.5% to 5% of the population, though some studies report a higher prevalence, with, let's say, finding about 6.2 in a sample. MPD is, unfortunately, I will say, common in men, and some studies have indicated that 75% of individuals with MPD are male. And additionally, researchers have suggested that rates of MPD may be higher among certain racial groups, such as Black, Hispanic individuals, and etc. This person even went as far to claim that there was a quote-unquote narcissism epidemic, which, by the way, refers to the idea that narcissistic traits and behaviors are increasing in modern Western societies. Now, technically, there's no definite proof of a widespread increase of narcissistic personality disorder, but I guess there are some studies that suggest higher levels of narcissistic traits, particularly among younger generations compared to older cohorts. So, fun. Though I think we can all agree that is, I would have to, suggest that is mainly because of some things that are done in social media. You have individuals that, let's face it, go out of their way to try to, not really care about what they post or who they affect in their content. Individuals like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, Johnny Somali, I'm Jay Station, and many others have gone on the way to just create content, and it doesn't matter who they hurt. If they get views, then they ultimately will just continue making that particular content. And unfortunately, there are a lot of situations where individuals that are of the younger descent will look at that content and be like, oh yeah, no, this is cool, let's do it. But anyways, the meat of the video. So with this individual reading segments, I want to say almost like cliff notes of the PubMed article, they go into detail about how individuals who, paraphrasing, individuals who own dogs may have more empathy towards the animal than they do actual people. Now, I will say that in some cases, yes, there are people that experience, or possibly could experience, more empathy towards a dog than they do with other people. But if I may ask the question, because a lot of times this isn't asked, what would be the root cause of individuals having that sort of mentality? Could it be genetics, as this individual in some retrospect tries to remark about narcissism being hereditary, which in some cases could be, but unfortunately with the whole hereditary argument, it's only effective if the individual gains that sort of narcissistic trait or furthers it based on situations involving environment, social structure, etc. So, in terms of the hereditary part of this whole argument, it almost is non-existent. Now, if I may use an example, in a lot of situations, especially in terms of like drug and alcohol situations, or drug and alcohol use, or substance use disorder, one of the things that is taught is that individuals, in terms of their addiction, is multifaceted, and the reasoning for their use could vary with each individual, whether it be long history, family history of use, peer pressure into use, environmental structure, etc., etc. So I want to use, and the reason I'm using this as an example is in correlation, because we can't look at this in sort of a black and white view. Otherwise, we'd be stigmatizing the situation or treating everybody the same way. If, let's say, a person owns a dog, you immediately assume that, oh, they're a narcissist, which is unethical to some degree. I think ultimately looking at, and I'm responding to the video itself, is that if there is a situation where people feel less empathetic towards humans than they do or with animals, or they treat more empathetic, or at least treat more care for the animal than they do humans, instead of just saying, oh, they're a narcissist, and even if they, let's say, even if they did represent narcissistic traits, take a seat back, or take a step back, and maybe consider the possibility that there is a situation where the individuals, there is more to why they think a certain way, why they act a certain way, than just, oh, they like animals. I'll say that in terms of, again, because I've made this argument a couple times with these particular videos, is that you have individuals from the dog-free community that have this mindset where, oh, dog owner, bad, automatically bad. Doesn't matter if they are responsible with their dog, doesn't matter if they aren't, very public on social media with their dog, etc., etc. Doesn't matter if it's pit bull, chihuahua, etc., etc. If you are a dog owner, that automatically classifies you as bad. In retrospect, also putting on some form of stigmatization of the individual. So ultimately, long long story short, looking at the video, interesting, by the way, interesting energy in terms of how they're presenting the information. Considering the argument with narcissism, especially narcissism in individuals that are, let's say, own animals, there is the possibility that they could be a narcissist, but at the same time, we need to acknowledge that what would have transpired to have them become a narcissist. In fact, if anything, I hate to say it, but considering, you know, how heated this argument is, humanize the individual a little bit. That's all I'm asking. But anyway, I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. If you guys can, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys will follow us on social media, links are in the description down below. As well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Novakast signing off. Have a good one. Take care. And I'll see you guys next video.